Hello, good morning, and welcome to this Dawn Busters Taste Challenge. We have two blended American whiskeys with no age statement and no website listing. The first one, Gran Legacy, introduced 2006. There's a crown. I don't know why. I don't think Kentucky's a kingdom, but they're showing a crown with a copper pot still, which probably only 20% of this whiskey's made in that, if that. Mostly column still grain alcohol, but American blend. It says blended whiskey with natural flavors. Well, at least they're telling you that. It's got some strange texture on the label. Like you can feel the copper trim is elevated. It's like plastic over paper. It's an interesting textured label. This it says it doesn't say distilled by, so they might be buying the grain spirits from MGP in Indiana, across the river, north of the river. Bottled by the Legacy Distilling Company, Louisville, Kentucky. But see, it's the trademark for this is owned by CVS Pharmacy. I just looked it up. This is a product for CVS Pharmacy, the ones that sell liquor. And my local CVS Pharmacy does sell liquor. But I did see this at a store that wasn't CVS. I saw this at Savannah Discount. Some of the Gran Legacy brands. And I think I saw it at Discount Depot. I don't know how they get a hold of it. Maybe one of the stores closes down and they auction it off on secondary market. I don't know how that works. But I know what I saw. I've seen Caliber, which is the trademark is owned by Walmart Apollo. I think that's their legal name, Walmart Apollo. But I've seen it Caliber at quite a few stores, even other store chains like Rouse's. So explain that. Bay Street Spirits, blended American whiskey. It says here owned by Florida Caribbean Distillers. So it's not a private label, but it's probably mostly sold to Total Wine and More. But you might see it at other stores if you ever see it. Produced and bottled in Florida by Florida Caribbean Distillers, or as it says on here, Florida Distilling Company. But it's the same thing. Bay Street Spirits introduced in 2010. No age statement. 80-20 blend ratio. So Florida production, Kentucky bottling, but the spirits could be coming from anywhere. Now yesterday evening, I did a preemptive one for Wednesday because Wednesday is not going to be a good day. I could do it, but too much hassle. That's why sometimes I do preemptive taste challenges for if I know a day is coming up, it's going to be a pain in the behind. I got cleaning to do today. I want to get this done. Anyway, enough of that. It was a tie yesterday. Really, pretty much. It was the Bay Street Spirits versus what was that Sazerac brand? And 75 South, which is mostly in Albertsons. It is owned by Safeway, which is an Albertsons store, but I've seen 75 South at other stores. But that one was a tie. I couldn't tell them apart. I couldn't tell one from the other. But I couldn't say one was better than the other. And secondly, they were the same price. So when you got the same price and you can't tell one from the other, then it's a tie. But Bay Street hasn't lost yet. It's going to lose tomorrow. Thursday, I think. Because I cannot see it beating Seagram 7 Crown, but we'll see. All right, time to pour. So now the Grand Legacy was $2 cheaper. This big bottle with the CVS card was $11.99. I don't know if they're still running that sale 2 years later. Prices have gone up thanks to the U.S. government's mismanagement of the economy since about 1933. You say, well, those people are incompetent. Yeah, I know they are. And and bad. That's a bad combination. Incompetent and evil. $11.99, but maybe higher today. And there's a Grand Legacy blended Scotch. True story. Gin, vodka, rum, silver and gold, gin. I think I might have said it. You say a legacy, a Grand Legacy, huh? Yeah, maybe not so grand. Winn-Dixie got their own line, and you know they got all these little alias names, but it's really coming from Sazerac. They try to obscure that. You know, you're not going to look on Sazerac's website and find Winn-Dixie whiskey or Winn-Dixie straight bourbon. Even they even have a Winn-Dixie straight bourbon with the horse on it. It's probably just ancient age rebottled, 3-year age, 80 proof. I can't prove it, but I mean, you think they're going to really go through all of that to make a special Winn-Dixie brand? But then maybe they do that with Tom Moore. And I could be wrong. Maybe it's all a specific recipe. I saw Tom Moore the other day, but I didn't buy it. I said, I got too much bourbon now. But that Tom Moore, I keep seeing it. And it's like, I'm an old brand. I'm not some made up name. No one drinks me, but I'm around still. Be curious to see what Tom Moore's like. Probably a whole lot like Ancient Age, maybe suspiciously similar. All right, so the Bay Street is so light. It's so straw colored that I get the feeling they're not adding color into it. I know the straight whiskey in there's got to be at least 4 years old because no age statement. But could it be corn whiskey, straight corn whiskey? I get the feeling that's what it is. The Grand Legacy is a straight bourbon. Kentucky probably is. Could it be some cheap brand of bourbon they just thrown in there? 4-year aged, cheap one. Like I don't know what's aged 4 years from Sazerac. Could be. Oh yeah, very old Barton. I think it's 4-year aged. They could just be blending it with grain spirits that they buy from MGP. I know they buy them from MGP because a girl on the tour told me that. She said, we used to distill vodka in this thing, but not anymore. I said, do you get your grain spirits from MGP in Indiana? She looked at me because her and her family worked there at Barton Distillery. She said, yes, that's where we get it. I didn't have any inside information. I just figured that's what happened. I just figured that was the case. And as it turns out, it is. And I noticed Paul Masson brandy now is saying Sazerac on the labels. I didn't know Sazerac bought Paul Masson brandy. I thought they were just doing it for them, the owners, which was Constellation. But I guess they bought it from Constellation because the last time I looked at a Paul Masson brandy bottle or the website, it's saying Sazerac. And I think even the Sazerac website show, I don't know. But yet, because when I was on that tour 4 years ago, the girl says, half the barrels in this Rick House are don't contain bourbon. Do you know? I wasn't the only one on the tour, but do you know what is in these? And I said, brandy. She said, right, Paul Masson brandy. She said, we do all the aging for Paul Masson brandy. I said, had a feeling. And when that Barton 1792 Rick House fell over, remember one of them collapsed about a year later, 2018, and all the barrels rolled into the river and polluted the river. It wasn't bourbon like they were saying on the news. Bourbon barrels rolled. It was bourbon barrels, I guess, rolled into the river and crashed, and liquor went everywhere. I think one man was killed. All that falls on you. You're dead. But it was brandy actually that fell into the river. Wouldn't have made a difference. But I was in that tour, on that tour, and she was showing us this plumb line. It's hanging straight down on a string, and there's a square. And she said, you see how it's inside that little square? We said, yeah, we could see that. She said, we keep checking that all the time, because if it's ever outside the square, that means the house, the barrel house is leaning, and you have to run out, because that means it's starting to give way. And the whole thing is, she says, 22,000 barrels of liquor in this one building, and they own dozens and dozens of buildings all through those hills and valleys. She says, so if it ever comes out that square, you got to get out immediately. And turns out a year later, that's exactly what happened. One of those buildings started to lean, and the whole thing came tumbling down. Amazing. It's kind of scary to be in there to think that. I was thinking, yeah, but when does that ever happen? A year later it happened, huh? This smells clean, more or less, like corn spirits. Well, what do you expect? That's what it's made with. Made out of. Vanilla, maybe. Smell like sherry. I know that's in my mind, because I know that if it says with natural flavors, they can add up to 2% blending sherry. And that's probably what they did, because I don't think they're allowed to have any other natural flavors. If you read the Tax and Trade Bureau Distilled Spirits Guide book, it's called a handbook, I think. It's like 20 pages. It's all on a PDF file online. I mean, I guess you could order the paper handbook, but it was saying it's allowed to have up to 2% blending sherry. I don't remember them naming any other flavorings. This one smells pretty much the same. It's got that creamy vanilla. It's got a little oak. Remember, both of these, the straight whiskeys, are aged at least 4 years, so you're going to pick up something. It may not be much for $13.99 a bottle or $11.99, and we're talking about the huge jug bottle, the handle. See, thing about these products, they don't taste great. They're not like, oh man, it's so fabulous. You know it's not going to be fabulous. It's $13.99 or $11.99 if you got the CVS card. But they're not as bad as some people make them out to be. You know, some people will be doing reviews talking about it tastes like shoe leather, shoe shine polish, hairspray, bubble gum, airplane glue, tape, and all this stuff. I mean, it does not taste like any of those things. I think they're just being dramatic or something. They want attention. Like these beer reviews you're reading, it's like 12 paragraphs. And the nutmeg interacts with the allspice and the chicory. And it's like, this beer doesn't taste like all of that. They got 300 descriptors, adjectives, goes on and on and on. It's like either they're trying to make a joke and they're like obliquely making fun of other reviewers, or they are serious and something wrong with them. I mean, these taste like what you think they are. They're grain. They taste like grain. What does the Total Wine website say about Bay Street Spirits? It's a blended grain whiskey. You know they got it off the sell sheet. A blended grain whiskey. It's a blend of grains. What grains? Almost all corn. And probably some malt whiskey, single malt, if you want to call it that, like they call it in Scotland. And now we might be talking about 2% of the volume. Some wheat whiskey, perhaps, in a very small amount, and some rye. It does have a little rye. Now, if you get those ones from Maryland, from Baltimore County, Maryland, from Majestic Distilling, formerly Monumental Distilling, right by the railroad track on that dead-end street. Those would be high rye, like that Club 400 blended American whiskey. They have a strong rye note relative to these. And somebody was saying, well, that's a Baltimore thing. Baltimore. Goes back to Pikesville rye, and I read a long article about it. And somebody told me, man, everybody around here drinks Club 400. To my Baltimore. That's what he said. Everybody around here drinks that. I saw it in Huntsville, Alabama. Not Huntsville. Well, whatever that town is right off the interstate by that National Wildlife Refuge. I was going to the Wildlife Refuge to go on that hike. I put some videos on YouTube about it. It was very interesting. But it was a liquor store. I said, oh, let me go look. And oh, it had all kind of stuff. And the price, the Club 400, I said, I'll buy it. And then after tax, it was like double the price. I was like, what's wrong with these people in Alabama? I never bought any more liquor there in forever since. My daughter told me, oh yeah, Alabama's got outrageous taxes on their liquor. And the government controls all the prices in all the liquor stores. They don't own the liquor store, but they control them. It's one of those control states. And then the governor and all these people going to talk about, down here in Alabama, we believe in free enterprise. It's like, no, you don't really believe in free enterprise. But then again, you probably couldn't even define it or explain what it is. But anyway, these are just a little tiny touch of rye. But you wouldn't mention it, except I just did. But you know what I'm saying? It's so minimal. So minimal. Mouthfeel, typical medium finish. Long, a little, gives you the willies. But so these are not as good as you'd want them to be, but they're about as good as you expect them to be, considering the price. And they're not nearly as bad as some people claim them to be. So there's a balance. You got to have a balance. You say, well, what if I don't even want to try them? I don't drink cheap stuff. I don't even want to try them. Well, then I would say, don't try them. Yeah, it's okay. It's got a little rye bite to it, though. Ooh. I think it's that Bay Street, but I don't know yet. Funny thing is, when I had the Gran Legacy on its own and in other challenges, it tasted really flavored. It was like, I mean, what they putting? Peanut oil in here. I just had peanut butter and jelly sandwich this morning. That natural peanut butter, you know, the Welch's with the oil. You can't ever get the oil totally mixed, though. But now I'm not detecting that. But you know how it goes. You put one against one and one against another, and it's not going to taste the same. It's weird. So which one wins? It's a tie. It's you're not going to gain or lose either way on either one of these. But so why? You say, well, then shop price. That's right. If I see these two and one's $11.99 and one's $13.99, I guess you know which one I'm buying. Actually, if one was $13.99 and one was $13.98, I'd save a penny and buy the other one. I mean, assuming I had never tried it yet. You know, assuming I have already tried it, because if I had never tried it yet, I might, well, you know, spend more so I could try it. Like that Classic Club. How you like that name? Classic Club at Total Wine. You know it's from Sazerac, and it's $14.99. It's $1 more. Will I pay $1 more to try it? I guess so. Is it going to be a classic? No. Is it going to be remarkable? No. Is it going to taste a whole lot different than these other run-of-the-mill blended whiskeys? No. But there is an outside chance. I mean, I'm saying no, but there is some slim to none possibility that it could be a little different. But in reality, the only thing that's going to really be different is the label and the sell sheet description, you know, and it'll be all this flowery language. And you say, yeah, uh-huh. I just think this one has a little more caramel, and it must be the, I'm going to read the comments though. Yeah, it must be the doggone Gran Legacy. But I'm going to say this is Gran Legacy. It's the Bay Street. Well, it's getting to the point now where I can't tell them apart. I don't know. Did I get used to Bay Street? It's hair. Or is it more likely it's so indistinct that there's no real difference? I think it's not. It's indistinct, so there's no real difference. But the next and final taste challenge for blended whiskeys is going to be Bay Street Spirits versus Seagram's 7 Crown. Seagram's going to kill it. There's no chance. It'll be a mismatch. Don't waste your time watching. It's going to be a fiasco. Then we're going into Canadian blended whiskey. I got McAdams. It's not going to be a champion. It's not going to go and just be whipping everybody. But I bet you it's going to do better than you think. First competitor, you got to go against Crown Royal. I don't think Crown Royal is going to beat it up so bad. Crown Royal, you can pay your $22.95 for a bottle, or you can get McAdams for $7.99 a liter. And is Crown Royal really that much better? Well, we're going to find out. Brandon, Drewski Brewski says, Ronald the Riot, cheers. Cheers to you. SMN69 Country says, hey, brother, good to see you. Drew wants to live stream with you. His eyes are closed. Yeah, well, I don't think we're going to be doing that this morning. I'm 240s and I'm enjoying this one. Well, I wouldn't drink too much, y'all. I always say drink water and coffee. People don't like that advice. Checking in. Say, hey, Caleb, Jeep and Foodie. I couldn't open my eyes because I couldn't take the chance of glancing at one over the other. If I saw the light color, I'd know it was Bay Street. And if I saw the caramel color, I would know it was Gran Legacy. So I had to close my eyes, to be fair. Because all you got to do is glance, and then you know that's Bay Street. Well, everyone's the blind taste test. And I didn't want to say I won on that. I want to win if I legitimately win. And if I lose, I lose. So I lost. In a sense, I lost. I couldn't tell them apart. So that's the loss. Otherwise, it's no loss. You live, win, lose, or draw, right? Win, lose, or draw. So it was sort of the expected this morning. I'm not shocked at all. Now, if I can't tell Seagram's 7 Crown apart from these, and that's $11.99 a bottle, if you're lucky, you might pay more. Yeah, I would be shocked. I would feel like a failure. Bourbon guy here. Yeah, bourbon's fine. Bourbon's fine. I don't know if I like it better than American blended whiskey, though. See, the American blended whiskey has a nice little smoothness to it. Like this, the grain spirits kind of smooth it out. Whereas the bourbon can be a little too much like, it's not the charred oak that bothers me. I like that. It's too much of this corn meal taste. You know, it just keeps tasting like cornbread or like just corn flour, cornmeal. I don't know. It's just something about it. I don't want to sit there and just drink liquid corn. I don't know. Y'all might want to. I'm not ripping on. You say, well, how blended American whiskey's liquid corn, not 80% grain spirits. What you think they make the grain out of? You know it's corn. I understand that. I get it. I get it. But It's something about that interaction with the raw grain spirits interacting with the straight bourbon, the 20%. And somehow it just smooths it out. I don't know. I can't explain it. It's like scotch. People like to criticize, ridicule, desecrate blended scotch. It's no good. I wouldn't buy it. It's terrible. Oh, the horror, the horror. And I drink it and I say, that's pretty good and smooth to me. Why are y'all so like fanatical about that? I only drink single malts and that's the way I am. Well, it's fine. Drink all the single malt you want. Have a good party. Have a great time. I'm trying the blended scotches, and I'm telling you the blended scotches are good, good, good. If not even, no, I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to say it. All right. But anyway, thanks for watching this video production. See you later now.